Welcome to Earth and Kind Quests. My name is Mike, and this video shares about what might happen when an Oath of Devotion Paladin battles against a Light Domain Cleric. In this Nemesis Battle, the two characters meet each other at level 8. The duel follows the rules of the 2024 Player's Handbook in Dungeons & Dragons. The Paladin and the Cleric are students at a Spellsword Academy. In order to graduate and to be recognized as professionals, they need to complete 3 tasks. The first of these 3 tasks will start today, involving a duel against each other in public view at the Spellsword Academy. In the video text description, you can see the web links for both of the level 8 character sheets in D&D Beyond. You will notice that these characters are not necessarily optimized for 1 versus 1 combat. Rather, they represent the kinds of characters who I might build at level 1 and then develop up through level 8, aiming to contribute positively in adventuring stories and campaigns. The High Elf Oath of Devotion Paladin is named Vona Navan. Her maximized charisma score grants several benefits, although her strength score is lower than for most paladins fighting in melee combat. During most battles, Vona Navan will activate her Sacred Weapon feature, adding her +5 charisma modifier to her attack rolls. The same +5 modifier adds to the Paladin's Aura of Protection, with all saving throws for herself and for her allies within 10 feet. Vona Navan can use a bonus action to heal herself or allies with the Paladin's Lay on Hands feature, with a pool of 40 hit points. Another powerful Paladin feature is the Find Steed spell, providing an otherworldly steed with superior mobility. Vona Navan can contribute superbly in melee combat, and her ranged attacks still are decent. Additionally, her charisma skills make her a good candidate for leading in social interactions. The human Light Domain Cleric is named Clara Cloudburn. She can manage decently in melee combat, especially when using her True Strike cantrip with her spear and casting Shield to boost her armor class, available through the Origin feat of Magic Initiate as Wizard. Depending on the battle situation, the cleric may choose to concentrate on Spiritual Weapon against a single enemy, or else Spirit Guardians against multiple enemies. The Light Domain spells can bring tremendous damage, but again, the choice of a spell depends on the situation, choosing among Burning Hands, Scorching Ray, Fireball, and Wall of Fire. As with any cleric, all of the usual healing and restoration spells are available. Clara Cloudburn can produce a respectable amount of damage in various combat situations, and she can provide crucial healing and support for any allies. Additionally, she can contribute effectively during most investigation procedures. Leading up to this point, Vona Navan and Clara Cloudburn have been studying and training at the Spellsword Academy. Today they will face each other in a duel, as the first part of 3 tests that they will need to complete in order to graduate and to earn their professional status. Presiding over the duel is the founder and leader of this newest version of the Spellsword Academy, the Bladesinger wizard Sailor Moonglow. She personally knows about fighting in duels against formidable foes. Her last duel was against the draconic sorcerer named Seblastian Drake, who was one of the 4 enforcers of a wrathful, fire-breathing red dragon. After the Bladesinger and her companions eventually defeated the dragon, then the draconic sorcerer and the dragon's other enforcers never have been seen again. Yet, the epic tales about them have persisted. Today, the Bladesinger Sailor Moonglow remembers about this last duel against the sorcerer, while presiding over the current event with her latest students, Vona Navan and Clara Cloudburn, facing each other in a duel. Students and community members have formed a small crowd to witness this battle. The 2 duelists move into their positions about 20 feet apart from each other. The Paladin commands her otherworldly steed to stand within close range just in case of needing the extra mobility during this battle. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, Vona Navan, and the Light Domain Cleric, Clara Cloudburn, roll for initiative. The Light Cleric wins this contest, and she will act first. In round 1, Clara Cloudburn considers her options and she decides to cast Mind Sliver at the Paladin, targeting one of the Paladin's weakest saving throws. The Paladin fails the intelligence saving throw. She sustains only 8 points of psychic damage. More importantly though, she will suffer a penalty of -1 die 4 on her next saving throw. As a bonus action, the Light Cleric upcasts Spiritual Weapon with a 3rd level spell slot. She makes 1 melee spell attack against the Paladin. The result of 11 will miss against the Paladin's armor class of 17. The Oath of Devotion Paladin moves into melee contact with her opponent. As part of her attack action, she activates her Sacred Weapon feature with her Channel Divinity. As a reaction, the Light Cleric invokes her Warding Flare feature. She gains 12 temporary hit points, and the flare imposes disadvantage on the Paladin's current attack roll. Attacking with disadvantage, the first strike with the longsword is a 12 and it will miss against the Cleric's armor class of 17. The second attack with the longsword will miss again. In this case of not being able to use her bonus action for a Divine Smite, the Paladin uses her bonus action instead to cast Divine Favor, hopefully useful during her next rounds of the duel. In round 2, the Light Cleric Clara Cloudburn begins with her bonus action to attempt to attack again with her Spiritual Weapon. This time, a roll of 18 hits the target. It delivers 10 points of radiant damage. As her action, the Light Cleric casts Fireball, positioning the blast to affect only the Paladin and nobody else. The Paladin rolls for the dexterity saving throw. She needs to subtract 1 die 4 due to the Mind Sliver. The result of 16 is enough to succeed. The Paladin suffers only half of the 8 die 6 fire damage for only 12 damage. At this point, the Paladin retains only 38 of her total 68 hit points. Meanwhile, the Cleric retains all of her 75 hit points plus a bonus of 12 temporary hit points. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, Vona Navan, attacks again with the Sacred Weapon of her longsword. The first attack hits the Cleric. It brings 8 slashing damage, and the Divine Favor adds 2 radiant damage. As a bonus action, the Paladin applies her once per day free casting of Divine Smite, inflicting another 11 points of radiant damage. The longsword applies the Sap Weapon Mastery, imposing disadvantage on the Cleric's next attack roll. The second attack with the longsword results in another disappointing roll that misses the target. The Light Cleric rolls a Constitution saving throw to maintain concentration on her Spiritual Weapon. Rolling with advantage due to her Warcaster feat, the Cleric succeeds. In round 3, the Light Cleric uses her bonus action to attack with her Spiritual Weapon. Rolling with disadvantage due to the sap of the Paladin's longsword, the attack misses. As her action, the Light Cleric casts True Strike while attacking with her spear. The roll of 18 hits the Paladin. The strike produces 14 radiant damage. The Blessed Strikes feature adds another 5 radiant damage. Perhaps unexpectedly, the Paladin is struggling, with only 19 of her total 68 hit points remaining. As a bonus action, the Paladin uses her Lay on Hands feature to regain 20 hit points, now up to 39 of her total 68 hit points. She considers this option to be more urgent right now than keeping her bonus action for a Divine Smite. She moves to attack with her longsword. The first swing results in a critical hit. The damage dice are doubled. The longsword inflicts 16 slashing damage, and the Divine Favor produces 3 radiant damage. The Sap Weapon Mastery will impose disadvantage once again on the Cleric's next attack roll. The second attack with the longsword hits once again. It delivers 11 slashing damage. The Divine Favor adds 1 radiant damage. The Cleric rolls 2 Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration on her Spiritual Weapon. Both rolls are with advantage due to her Warcaster feat. Both rolls succeed. In round 4, once again, the Cleric uses her bonus action to attack with her Spiritual Weapon. She rolls with the disadvantage due to the sap of the Paladin's longsword, and she misses the target. As her action, the Cleric casts Mind Sliver. The Paladin rolls for the intelligence saving throw, and the result of 10 fails. The paladin sustains a minor 6 points of psychic damage. More distressing though, she will suffer another -1 die 4 penalty on her next saving throw. She expects that her opponent will cast another fireball. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, Vona Navan, continues with her longsword attacks. As a reaction though, the Light Cleric interposes her Warding Flare. She gains 7 temporary hit points, and the paladin will need to roll this forthcoming attack with disadvantage. Even with the disadvantage, the longsword hits. The strike delivers 8 slashing damage, and the Divine Favor adds 4 radiant damage. As a bonus action, the paladin applies a Divine Smite, adding 8 radiant damage. Once again, the Sap Weapon Mastery applies. The cleric rolls with advantage to maintain concentration on her sacred weapon, and she succeeds. The paladin attacks again with her longsword. The roll of 18 hits the target. The longsword inflicts 6 slashing damage. The Divine Favor adds 2 radiant damage. The Light Cleric rolls again to maintain concentration on her sacred weapon. With advantage, the roll is a success. In round 5, the Light Domain Cleric retains only 14 of her total 75 hit points, while the Oath of Devotion Paladin retains 33 of her total 68 hit points. Clara Cloudburn uses her bonus action to attack with her sacred weapon. She rolls with disadvantage due to the Sap Weapon Mastery, and the result of 17 does hit the target. The sacred weapon brings 11 radiant damage. The paladin now stands with only 22 hit points remaining. The previous Mind Sliver will impose disadvantage on her next saving throw. The Light Cleric prepares to cast another fireball. The Oath of Devotion Paladin, Vona Navan, interrupts to declare that she concedes the battle to her opponent. The Light Domain Cleric, Clara Cloudburn, is not sure if the fireball would have been enough to defeat her opponent. Nonetheless, she accepts the paladin's offer to end the duel. From the nearby crowd of observers, people step forward to administer healing potions, effectively restoring the full health of the two duelists. Presiding over this duel, the Bladesinger Salamunglo recognizes that these students have proven their worthiness to advance to the second of the 3 tests for their graduation from this Spellsword Academy. The upcoming second test will involve a teamwork challenge. In this moment, another figure steps out from the crowd, revealing that he is the draconic sorcerer, Sebastian Drake, who previously had lost in a duel against the Bladesinger Salamunglo. Ever since that time, the sorcerer has been haunted by his mistakes during the duel and plotting for a possible kind of revenge. Sebastian Drake announces that he is here for a rematch of sorts. He proposes that he will battle not against the Bladesinger, but rather against the 2 students. If he will win, then he will claim victory and bind the 2 students to work for him. If he will lose, then he will go away and acknowledge that he truly has been defeated. The bystanders move away to hide from the danger. The paladin and the cleric move into a battle stance, signaling that they are prepared to face this challenge, potentially fulfilling the second of the 3 tasks for the graduation from the Spellsword Academy. The sorcerer stands firmly in his position, despite the appearance of being outnumbered. Our story will continue in the next episodes of Nemesis Battles. For now, in the comment section, please share your ideas and suggestions about what could have happened differently and what could happen next. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.